What's up, y'all? And welcome back to Dad Needs to Talk. I'm your host, Robert, and today I'm joined by my good friend, Mr. Silent P, the creator of Space Crush. What's up, Silent P?
Hey there, everybody. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, man?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Just cooling, having a nice, easy kickback today from a work week, and
Oh, yeah.
just drawing and listening to rap.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, I guess I'll kind of kick things off with a little bit of background between how I ended up meeting Silent P. So it was what sometime maybe like early fall of last year.
Hmm.
Uh, your wife, Miss Cat, started her podcast, Solar Scouts podcast, and a couple times throughout her show, she would mention that her husband was drawing a comic. I'm like, okay, it kept piquing my interest up
Hmm.
until the time when you released your first issue of it, or the first chapter of it. And so I was like, okay, what was that name again? And so I looked it up, hit you up, and that's kind of where this all kind of started.
Yeah.
Was through that. So yeah, so it's been a from my side of things, it's been very cool and interesting to kind of follow along your journey, at
Uh-huh.
least your journey in the sense of from having that first chapter out up until you currently have three chapters out now and you're working on your fourth. But it's
Hmm.
been just kind of fun getting to see a little bit more in depth of that process because most people, they just see, okay, the finished product, when it's online or in store shelves or wherever you might find it.
Hmm.
So it's definitely very rare that you get that insight into and the peek behind the curtain, so to speak.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so yeah, so that is definitely some of many things that we'll be touching on today. Is just kind of your history
Hmm.
of how you got into this, where you started, and the whole process. Uh, so I guess before I start getting to like specific questions, I guess hmm. I'll start with this. What is kind of like your history and background as far as like comics and writing and things of that nature?
So I started drawing when I was really young. So when I was 7, maybe 8 years, probably younger than that, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I really loved drawing. Like that
Yeah.
was my favorite part of school. If they gave an assignment where we had to illustrate something, I remember I did 2 years in a row, like in first and second grade, I did a drawing of what you wanted to be when you grow up.
Oh,
And
nice.
I remember the first year it was a police officer. Yikes. Then the second year it was a race car driver, and I drew the picture of myself as both of those things. And I remember my mom being like, your mama always your first fan.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
she was
yeah.
just really impressed at how good I could draw that. And that's like my earliest memory of like, okay, this
Mm-hmm.
is kind of my thing.
Yeah.
And from there, I'm a 91 baby, so I was one of those anime kids that so
Yeah.
many of us was. My older brother introduced me to Dragon Ball Z on Toonami Midnight Run in
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
summer of 1999. We were not supposed to be up that late, but he was like, "Hey, it's these kids on TV and they can shoot fire from their hands."
Yeah.
And it was on the Namek saga when they was traveling to Namek, and
Yeah.
that day kind of I always remember that day because it kind of changed my life. And from then I started like folding up sheets of like wide ruled paper
Mm-hmm.
in half and putting safety pins
Mm-hmm.
in between them to make them like a book. And I
Oh,
basically
okay.
just drew my own Dragon Ball Z ripoff. It was like
Yeah.
Dragon
Yeah.
Ball Z characters with different names. So
Yeah.
from then on, like all the way from middle school to high school, all the way to I graduated high school, I drew comics in the living room, like on the table. Like I used to use DVDs to like make straight lines to make my little comic boxes and stuff. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I still got some old stuff from then. So, through school and stuff, I was like the art kid. I was the artsy brother.
Yeah.
And I knew I wanted to make comics more than anything. And going to college, I initially went to school at the Art Institute of Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
and I went for graphic design because there wasn't a major in comic book art or doing anything of
Yeah.
that nature. So I was still like teetering between like, okay, well, I want to go to Atlanta because Cartoon Network and Adult Swim is there. Maybe I
Mm-hmm.
can intern up there or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
when I went there and went to school, I kind of lost focus a little bit though. It's
Yeah.
kind of shifting, but I lost a little focus when I went there. I got distracted by other things like what a lot of my friends were in the rap, and I was also in the rap. I also got this deep connection to hip hop.
Yeah.
And at the time, like I learned how to rap, and my friend was going for audio production, so that stuff kind of distracted me. So I end up wanting to rap and do music, and I drew a little less when I
Mm-hmm.
was in school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then I end up dropping out of there because I realized like I got pretty far in the graphic design program and realized like I'm not gonna want to do this for
Yeah.
a living. Like once I really figured out what graphic design was actually about. So
Yeah.
um, right before I dropped out, and when I first came back home here to Birmingham in 2012,
Mm-hmm.
I started working on at the time it was Space Dust. It wasn't Space Crush.
Okay.
I did some of the first drawings. I filled up a whole little art book I had from art school full of like character profiles,
Mm-hmm.
character names, pictures, and all this stuff. And then when I got back home, I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do with life and stuff. And um, skipping ahead, I went to respiratory school, became a respiratory therapist, and all this stuff. So by the time I did all this stuff, I had stopped drawing completely,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of thought like, man, I just don't know how to draw anymore.
Yeah.
But I still picked up and thought about Space Dust and had by this time renamed it Space Crush and wrote stuff and notes and stuff. And I think at one point I was even on DeviantArt trying to see if I could commission some artists to draw some character
Oh.
designs for me because I was just like, I just don't got it no more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so fast forward ahead, I met my wife in 2019, and I showed her my art book with all my stuff, and I was like, "Yeah, this is a comic that I've been working on and off for almost 10 years now, but I don't know if I'm ever do nothing with it." And
Yeah.
she loved the artwork and stuff, and was like, "You need to keep doing this. You need to start back drawing." So little by little, I started drawing stuff for her
Mm-hmm.
and drawing little pics and stuff, and then I started back getting interested again.
Yeah.
And one day I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna start. I was like, I got some characters designed.
Mm-hmm.
um, I'm just gonna start, and I just wrote it on paper. The first two chapters look a bit different from chapter three because chapter three was done all digital.
Okay.
Chapters one and two was on paper and scanned in the computer and edited in
Mm,
Clip Studio. So that's my history with comic books. I never did anything professionally. I just at the heart of things, I've always drawn and I've always wanted to work on comic books. So I've drawn comic books, for myself for years growing up.
yeah.
And I'm just trying to get into it now, like seeing the guys at Saturday AM
Yeah.
doing what they're doing, and I've been following them since like I remember when White Manga was on DeviantArt a lot, and I
Mm-hmm.
followed him back in 2012, and he was just working on Apple Black. And I remember when he first said like in 2013 he was gonna create this anthology
Mm-hmm.
and be like the Marvel of manga like
Yeah.
back in 2013, and now seeing with them getting a global deal and stuff, I was like, man, like it's
Mm-hmm.
really motivating and inspiring
Oh
now.
yeah.
So I'm just trying to follow in their footsteps now and do my own thing with Space Crush. But I hope that wasn't too long.
Oh no, no, you good. No, I enjoy that because like I said, it's always fun and interesting getting to hear about the journey that somebody went on to get to, what you're doing now. Uh, granted, I guess in the conversations we've had over the months, or whatever, I never really asked about sibling stuff or whatever, so I never knew that you had an older brother
Oh yeah.
and stuff like that. And I was curious, like how much, if any, of because I know you said that you've kept some of the stuff that you've drawn like from like years in the past, but like how far back do you have stuff from like your childhood that you were drawing, like the little paperclip things you were putting
Man,
together and stuff like that?
man, I wish, man. We moved around a lot growing up, and I
Yeah,
moved around a lot as an adult too
yeah,
until recently. So a lot of that stuff just kind of got lost in the shuffle.
yeah,
And back in the day, they used to kind of make fun of you about being an anime kid and drawing and stuff. So I know a lot of the stuff I got rid of or
yeah.
tried to hide if somebody was coming over because I ain't want to.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So I lost a good bit of it. I do still got stuff from my high school days. So I got a comic book that I did called Phoenix Fire,
Mm,
where I was drawing in a sketch pad from when my probably 11th grade.
yeah,
So that's probably as far back dated as I have it, but I still have those in the box, and I got all my early Space Crush when it was still Space Dust
yeah.
stuff put up in the box, and got all my drawings and stuff from that too.
Okay. So that's something I wanted to also ask you about as well. So what kind of made you decide to change the name from Space Dust to Space Crush?
So I came up with Space Dust. When I made up that name, so I was on break from school
Mm-hmm.
for a time too. I was in between, and I took like a quarter off,
Mm-hmm.
and like during that time, I just started drawing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on Facebook sharing my art, and I had all my stuff that I was drawing every day and sharing. I just titled it Space Dust.
Gotcha.
Um, I don't remember why exactly. Like, I know back then I had like a plan to like have like a multimedia. Like I was trying to do comic books back then too,
Gotcha.
and my like brand logo was gonna be Spaceships Media, so it might have just been a play off of
Uh,
that or something.
gotcha.
But I titled it Space Dust. Then when I started thinking of like, I was like, man, I want to make like a sci-fi adventure comic, like
Yeah.
and I just said I was gonna name it Space Dust, like, and
Mm-hmm.
I had no thought about the name. I was just trying to think of a kind of cool sounding name. So I
Yeah.
was like, Space Dust sounds cool. Like I was kind of thinking in terms of like how Bleach, like it, you don't know why it's called Bleach
Yeah. Yeah.
necessarily. You kind of got to Google but it,
Yeah.
you don't hear Bleach get mentioned in the series and
Yeah.
whatnot. So I was kind of thinking of something like that
Yeah.
at that time. But the reason I changed the name because I Googled, because I was thinking about copyright and
Oh
all this
yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
and I Googled space dust and found out it's a candy called Space Dust,
Mm,
and it's also a beer too called Space Dust.
gotcha.
So I was like, let me just switch it up, and I just
Yeah.
thought of Crush, and I
Yeah.
was like Space Crush.
Yeah.
And when I came up with the story, I was like, that's gonna be my main character's name. I was
Yeah.
like, that sounds like a superhero or bounty hunter type name. I'm gonna make that my character name. So when
Okay.
I thought of that being my character name, actually,
Mm-hmm.
when I actually started seriously coming up with the comic I got today.
Yeah.
But before it was just like a name of a comic. But yeah, as far as I know, there's no Space Crush. I'm still working on getting that copyrighted and all that. But as far
Mm-hmm.
as I know, there's no Space Crush brand anything out there.
Yeah. Yeah. The branding stuff is definitely something that not everybody takes into account when they are doing stuff. Now, like you said, like when you kind of like a little bit younger, and you just, hey, I'm just drawing just for the fun
Hmm.
of it. A lot of us just name stuff just whatever. But then it's like,
Hmm.
okay, I might try to do this professionally, or like you said, like try to go to the copyright and all that stuff, whatever. And then it's
Mm-hmm.
like some people don't actually check that stuff early enough in the
Yeah.
process, and they're like years deep into doing a thing, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, let me go see if I can get that domain name or the copyright or whatever, and come to find out
Mm-hmm.
somebody else has had it for years, or maybe even swooped in the time that you've had the idea and registered
Uh,
it 2 years ago, and it's like, oh man. So yeah,
yeah.
that definitely a lesson to everybody out there.
Yeah.
If you have anything as far as like branding and stuff like that, try to go about getting like your domain names for websites and stuff, and uh, copyright and all that stuff situated, because yeah, it can become a tricky pickle
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
very quickly. Um, one other kind of like background thing I want to ask about before, or I guess to kind of help us start going into Space Crush in its current form. What why the name Silent P?
Oh man. So I've always wanted to go by another name as
Yeah,
an artist.
yeah,
I just always thought it sounded cool. Like there's a couple artists like one that made One Punch Man goes
yeah,
by one. Like I've always wanted to have something like that.
yeah,
And also because I used to rap and stuff, so I had a rap name that I'm not gonna name.
yeah.
But I had another rap name,
Hmm.
and I thought about using that when I started drawing and was on DeviantArt and stuff. And at first I used to go by Samurai Phil, and I
Mm.
spelled Phil with the Pheel, so I spelled it like Phil.
Nice.
Um, and I did that early in the 2010s, and then I wanted to kind of switch it up and make it kind of more personal.
Yeah.
And I started thinking about like something that kind of represents me or represents something people say about me or notice about me. And
Hmm.
in school, I was kind of like always quiet, and people talked about why I was so quiet. I was introverted, and I
Yep.
the thing
Same
about me
here.
is if you get to know me or have a one-on-one conversation with me, I will talk, talk, talk
Yep.
and be a completely different person. But if I'm in big crowds, if I don't know you that well, first off, I'm always gonna be quiet first. So that's just something people always said
Yeah.
about me. So I like that movie Jay and Silent Bob.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, okay, what about like Silent Field or something like that?
Yeah.
And then I was like, because the P actually stands for professor. It doesn't stand for Philip or Phil.
Gotcha.
So I was like, well, I always wore glasses in school, and people, at the time, I didn't like it, but people used to always liken me as a smart guy
Yeah.
to the point that I would run away from it. But they were just going by because I was a lot skinnier too. I'm 6 feet tall, and I used to weigh like 135 pounds in high school. So I was this super skinny,
Yeah.
tall guy with glasses. So people used to say I looked like a professor.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just embody that, and I was like, okay, silent professor. Then like I shortened it to Silent P just to
Yeah.
make it a shorter name on the internet. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, it just kind of I took two things that people say and just kind of wanted to embody it a little bit and own it.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. That's my first time, hearing that, because it kind of makes me think about uh, Deku in My Hero Academia, how
Uh-huh.
Bakugo used that as a way to make fun of him, but he took
Mm,
it like you said, like you said, like with the silent with the professor thing, and like, you know what? No, I'm gonna take ownership of this myself and turn it into
yeah,
something positive. So yeah, I really like that. That's really dope, man.
I
That's really dope.
appreciate it.
So trying to think where to start. So with Space Crush itself, being this sci-fi adventure, what I guess like what led you to wanting it to be a sci-fi adventure and kind of the general story and stuff like that.
Just always being a fan of sci-fi films. I guess where my head was at when I thought about it was Men in Black.
Mm,
Um, Guardians of the Galaxy was a big influence.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm trying to think of something else that's
Yeah,
just like a fun, goofy sci-fi series, like just letting your imagination run away with you and
oh
kind
yeah,
of taking the reader on this adventure, like with fun characters. And I always got to throw Akira Toriyama in there. Like
yeah,
a lot of folks don't think about Dragon Ball as a sci-fi series, but it really is.
yeah,
Like they go into space, they fight aliens, the main characters are alien.
yeah.
So that was a big influence on that. And just like I try to what I love about Akira Toriyama is the comedic tone of all his stuff. And I don't just mean Dragon Ball either. I'm talking about like Dr. Slump.
Yeah.
I'm talking about many of his one shots that he have
Mm-hmm.
is sci-fi influence. So that comedic tone with like fun action adventure background is like what I'm trying to capture. I'm just trying to throw something real fun and adventurous. And I love sci-fi because I'm also a science geek. I have a degree in science, and I
Mm-hmm.
love biology
Mm-hmm.
and technology. Like any of that stuff piques my interest. And what I like about science fiction, you can take a scientific idea
Mm-hmm.
for a story, but just run with it.
Yeah.
Like you can take a concept in science that's a factual thing and
Mm-hmm.
kind of just let your imagination run with it and be like, oh, but what if?
Yeah.
And I love futuristic stuff. I'm also like big cyberpunk series fan. Matrix is one of my most favorite movie trilogies of all
Yeah.
time. I also love the Animatrix.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
and I've been reading Battle Angel Alita. Like I just love stuff like that. That's just
Yeah.
in the future and just letting your imagination like, what if this happens in the future? Like speculative stuff. Like what if aliens came and took over, or
Mm-hmm.
what if humans colonized other planets?
Yeah.
Like I just love playing with ideas on that. So it's just like my favorite genre to work with.
Yeah. And because you mentioned the humor and things of that. That is definitely something that I've seen all throughout all of the chapters that you wrote. Because honestly, even 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 back in I remember like a specific one in chapter one, and I believe another one in chapter two. But even sometimes just like the facial expressions that some of your characters have in certain moments where they're like, "What?" Like the first time I saw that just made me laugh. And
Yeah.
there was a moment in I believe it was the second chapter where they met the boss of the
Oh yeah.
organization, and his hat thing, and the one dude just like busting out laughing at like man, look at this dude, he looks so goofy and he's in charge. So yeah, yeah, as like I said, to all listeners and watchers, I can definitely attest to the comedy stuff being throughout Space Crush. Because yeah, that, like I said, like when I read that first chapter, it was something that immediately grabbed my attention. I was like okay, I was like yeah, this is gonna be a fun adventure, as well as even like I said with like some of like the or what you mentioned earlier with like some of like your Dragon Ball inspirations and stuff. I could see that in some of certain characters like power ups and
Mhm.
movements and looks and stuff like that. But still, you putting your own spin and style on it
Mhm.
yourself. So, I guess I'm trying to think. Did I ask you to say like what the actual premise of Space Crush is? I don't know if I actually asked you that yet. I don't think I have.
Okay.
or the general like story and stuff like that for Space Crush.
Okay. So Space Crush is a story centered around two main characters. Micho and the other character is named Nico.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Micho and Nico Steele. Micho goes by Space Crush as a bounty hunter, so he has an alternative name
Mm-hmm.
that he uses. So as a bounty hunter, he is known as Space Crush. So these two are first year bounty hunters in the year 5999, and they are running a case trying to find these guys that are doing meta heists around Capital City, which is the main city that is on Earth Colony.
Mm-hmm.
So the premise is they're on this everyday mission trying to find these two guys running meta heists. They need to capture them and they want to collect their bounty. But in the process of that, they find out that they are actually working for a guy known as the Insect King. The Insect King is the guy that 12 years ago was listed as a prime suspect that kidnapped Micho's mother, the main character.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're just going through this whole whirlwind of events of unraveling this much larger case, seems like,
Mm-hmm.
uh, in the goal of finding out what happened to Micho's mother and what did the Insect King do to him. So that's kind of the journey I want to take the reader in on that. The setting is Earth colony in the year 5999. So
Mm-hmm.
imagine a world in a very, very distant future where space travel to other planets, colonization on other planets is possible.
Mm-hmm.
But say a more advanced alien race has came in and dominated humans long ago. So humans aren't the apex of society anymore. There's a species on top of humans that kind of oppress them economically.
Mm-hmm.
They control the galaxy, and humans are kind of just like almost like second class citizens of the galaxy.
Yeah.
And I kind of explain some of that stuff. If you read the first chapter, some of that stuff will get explained. Some
Mm-hmm.
stuff I'm just saving for later, but
Yeah.
that's kind of the idea of the world that they're living in right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So with the story and things of that nature, like I'm just kind of like curious to know how much of it is kind of like set in stone as far as like okay you kind of know or do you know like okay this is the end goal and then like how much of it along the way do you already kind of have like planned out like do you have like okay I'm for sure gonna hit this and this along the way and they kind of like filling in story beats or moments along the way or kind of like what is like your thought process with planning out the story.
Yeah, so the ending is not something I have written down or planned out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the mystery of the Insect King is kind of there
Mm-hmm.
already. I have like an outline of points I want to get to.
Yeah.
So, so many chapters in is like my act one,
Gotcha.
and then each chapter as I make them, I write out the details.
Mm-hmm.
So like let's say for instance chapter 4, like I got chapter 4 written out all the way to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 5 is not written yet,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but I'm going off my script as
Yeah.
I draw chapter 4. But that doesn't mean I don't know what I'm gonna do in chapter 5. It's just like I have to see how, until it like plays out on paper,
Yeah.
like it doesn't really make sense of where I'm gonna pick up on the next chapter. So I tried writing ahead when I first started, but it didn't exactly work out for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm kind of just following the outline of points I want to hit in the
Mm-hmm.
first act, then the second act, then the third act. I'm kind of taking that approach
Yeah.
to it. And I'm not an experienced writer. Like I just been making up stuff
Yeah.
since I was a kid and just kind of letting my imagination run with me
Yeah.
on the stuff. So the Mystery of the Insect King and stuff I got pretty much planned out, but I'm kind of taking it at a chapter at a time, but just kind of following my little guideline on what's
Yeah.
happening. And then I also kind of like it like that because it allows me creative freedom to change
Yeah.
stuff. So I don't have to stick to a certain thing. So if I decide I wanted to kind of go another way,
Yeah.
it can. But I just got to give myself a little boundary so my story don't just be all over the place and it forget its goal and
Oh yeah.
so end up in Hawaii on Mars or something, and like what's going on? I don't know where it's going anymore. I don't want that to happen, but I want to keep surprising people, and I still want to like be able to tweak things here and there along the way.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
got character backgrounds and stuff written out
Hmm.
that hadn't been introduced yet, stuff like that. But as far as the story, like I kind of take it at a chapter at a time
Yeah.
and see where and kind of see where I'm gonna go from the end of each chapter.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I like that. Cause yeah, like like I said, like me just as a outward observer and reader, it's
Hmm.
that is something that I think about a lot with certain series and stuff like that. It's like, okay, like how much of this was planned out and how much this was kind of like, okay, like you said, like, okay, you have these certain bullet points you want to hit,
Hmm.
but kind of like you said, giving yourself some freedom to kind of pivot and make changes and moves and stuff along the way. Um,
Hmm.
cause that's kind of how, in a way, kind of like how I approach doing my podcast and this stuff, whatever. To
Hmm.
where same thing. Like when I first started, I was trying to stick to a script and all this stuff,
Hmm.
whatever. And yeah, I was like, yeah, this just isn't me, or this just
Hmm.
doesn't feel right. And so, like you said, it's okay. I have like my few bullet points to make sure, okay, make sure I hit certain
Right.
topics or whatever, and then I just kind of just talk and kind of find my path along the way. And
Hmm.
me just mentioning the talking stuff, whatever, just kind of made me think back to because you mentioned earlier how I can't remember if you said this before we recorded or while we recorded, but about how me and you are similar in many ways,
Hmm.
because your story about you kind of being the quiet guy and stuff at school until somebody actually gets to know you and stuff, that is
Hmm.
definitely the way I am as well, because a lot of times I'll be surprised that I'm able to talk so long on most of my episodes that I do by myself.
Yeah.
I'll come on and I'll be like, yeah, guys, I really ain't got much to talk about today. And then an hour and a half later, I'm like, well, I guess I found something.
Yeah. We just need that one on one, and once we get rolling, we get rolling. That's
Yes, yes, for
that's
sure,
what a
man.
lot of people after they know me say they like. Yeah, he quiet. And he was like, no, you just got to talk to Phil. He will definitely talk back. You just got to initiate sometimes and just talk to him. I was like, he definitely talk.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, because a lot of times it just takes like the right subject or
Hmm.
whatever to talk about, cause I've even had moments where like when I'm like if I'm at Barnes and Nobles or something or a bookstore, I try not to be that guy to like you know intrude on other people's conversations and stuff whatever. But it's like every blue moon, somebody might be in there and either they're trying to find something or
Hmm.
they're talking about something that I'm super interested in. I might be like, oh yeah, that is a good series, or give a little input,
Hmm.
or hey, I can't find where whatever series is, or oh, it's over there around the corner, stuff like that. But yeah, but I'm trying to think, cause along the way you've definitely brought up a lot of things that I wanted to kind of like, or had curious questions about. Actually, cause you kind of made mention of, you have the backstory of a lot of or certain characters and stuff that haven't even been introduced yet. Um, of the people that you've introduced so far, who is your favorite character that you like drawing and writing about?
I answered this on Twitter. Well, I ain't answer it. It was somebody just said post your favorite like original character from your. I follow a lot of indie comic
Yeah,
creators, and they had these posts just for a chance to like get exposure and meet and
yeah,
network people. And I posted Nico Steele.
mm,
She based off my wife, so I think that's why I like her character. I'm keeping a lot of her background a mystery right now,
yeah,
but I know what it is. So I'm having a lot of fun developing her as a character, and she's also just my favorite to draw. Like I
yeah,
don't know, it's something therapeutic about drawing her, drawing the little cat ears and
yeah,
stuff like that. I really like. I like my main character, but I just be like, yeah, man, some Nico scenes.
yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
So because you mentioned that she's kind of based off of your wife. I was kind of curious if that was the case because one thing that kind of like made me think about it was the cat ears. Cause I wonder I was like I gotta ask Phil about that one day. So,
well,
but yeah. I agree. I like her character as well. Um, with the I'm trying to think how to ask. Okay, I guess like with the characters and stuff comes their different powers and abilities. Like where did like some of the ideas for some of that stuff kind of come from with like some like your powers and abilities and even the having mutants and androids and stuff like that in your story like where did kind of some of that stuff or the ideas with that stuff kind of come from?
just So when I was thinking of like the concept of what I'm trying to present, one of the things I wanted to do, um, one of the ways I thought of like what I was trying to get across with this story, or what I'm trying to like, what my like when I was thinking about elevator pitches,
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking of okay, this is Cowboy Bebop sprinkled with a little bit of X-Men.
Oh,
Was one of the pitches I thought of.
yeah.
So I kind of wanted to take all the sci-fi elements of like superheroes, kind of,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
put it in a sci-fi kind of. I wanted to have that kind of space western background almost
Yeah.
mixed with a little cyberpunk.
Yeah.
So Cowboy Bebop, Trigun, but
Mm-hmm.
what if we literally were dealing with like super mutants with powers
Yeah.
and the ideas for the powers? So Micho, I thought of when I first thought of him 10 years ago, I just I wanted to have a guy who was black
Mm-hmm.
that had the power to shoot energy from his hands.
Yeah.
That was just like that basic concept I wanted was like somebody can shoot energy beams. Some of my influences with that, of course, Dragon Ball,
Mm-hmm.
being able to harness ki. Another influence that I don't think I say a lot, Green Lantern.
Oh yeah, I can see
Just
it.
like being able to harness energy.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
wanted somebody like that, and that's kind of the idea I had for him. And then with Nico, I was like, it's the future. Like I gotta have some cyborgs or robots in here. And
Yeah.
the idea for her, Dragon Ball, like the Android saga, like 17 and 18
Yeah.
was something I thought about. Um Battle Angel Alita
Mm-hmm.
was somebody I had in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I also wanted to think about how in this distant future society, I always think about like that speculative fiction
Mm-hmm.
type of stuff, like how did society advance?
Yeah.
And I think what a lot of stuff in sci-fi films always do is like the robots take over
Oh yeah.
and the robots dominate the humans. But I was like, in my mind, in the future, like I was like, I don't think humans are going to let robots take over. I think humans are going to integrate technology in themselves
Yeah.
before they build a human like robot
Hmm.
that's essentially superior to them.
Yeah.
So my idea was like, it's not like androids walking around, it's cyborgs, it's people that's integrated technology in their bodies.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, the mutant idea just came from X-Men, like is a big influence on that.
Hmm.
But I used the substance that I have in the series called Meta,
Hmm.
and this is a substance that society uses as an energy source. It like powers spaceships. It's like the oil of this time. Like
Yeah.
it's like what oil is to us in this future. That's what Meta is. It powers almost everything. It's a plasma substance that lets off a lot of energy that
Hmm.
gives them the power for space travel and all this stuff. But the twist I put is it that it causes humans to mutate.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so that's created this society of cyborgs and mutants in the world. And when people get those powers, they can use it for good or bad. So
Hmm.
you got a whole criminal underworld of like mutants and cyborgs out there that have to be handled. So
Yeah.
um, that's kind of the ideal of the world I wanted to kind of build, this world where there are these dangerous criminals with
Hmm.
like crazy abilities from either being a cyborg or a mutant.
Hmm. Okay.
Um,
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
I thought you might have froze.
No,
You
no,
had froze earlier.
no,
And
my
I was like,
bad.
okay, maybe it'll come back. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, you cool. But okay, yeah, good hearing on that stuff. Um, so I'm trying to think. So earlier, you had made mention that you had kind of made, between chapter two and now chapter three, that you made the transition from doing, hand drawn and scanning it in to doing it all digital. Uh, have you found that that's kind of helped make the process better, faster? What have kind of been, I guess maybe like some both pros and maybe some cons that you found in making that transition?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, I found both pros and cons. Overall, I love digital.
Yeah,
It's really great. And I ran from digital for so long because I was just like, I can't learn that stuff.
yeah,
Like, I'm not super duper tech savvy
mm-hmm,
with stuff, and I think I just was scared of it for a long time that
yeah,
I just wouldn't be able to do it.
mm-hmm,
Um, but the pros, it's cheaper in the long run because you're not constantly buying supplies for it, which can be very expensive, like micron pens and pencils, man. Especially those micron pens, man,
yeah,
they can cost you, and you'll run out quick trying to ink comic pages and stuff too.
yeah, yeah,
So from a financial standpoint, it's cheaper in the long run. Um, Another pro is that messing up is not as
mm,
detrimental.
yeah,
So what comes with that is you can experiment with a lot more things that way because you're not worried about, oh, I'm gonna mess up this page if I try this.
yeah,
So from my standpoint, I feel like it took my art to another level because I'm being more risky and trying things that I usually was scared of
yeah,
to do. And now I have this whole arsenal of all these other tools that I didn't have before too.
mm-hmm,
So I watched a lot of tutorials and stuff, and I think it just improved the overall quality. Not because it helps you draw better,
yeah,
you still got to have the skills, but it's just a better resource, a more valuable resource
yeah,
to have, so you can do more things. It doesn't make you draw better, but you will draw better because you got more resources and the ability to backtrack if you mess up
yeah,
on stuff. So those have all been great um, pros. Another pro is not having the scan in process.
Yeah.
Like when I drew on paper, I had to scan in, I had to clean up the
Oh
art,
yeah.
and also redraw stuff within the
Mm,
program. I did a lot of that on those first two chapters on pages too, but that
mm,
also helped me practice too because I completely erased some of the stuff on
mm,
the program and redrew it in the program. I was like, hey, I drew this pretty good. I can probably
yeah.
do a whole page like this. So shout out to Saturday AM and White Manga
Yeah.
again because I looked White Manga has like some of the best tutorials
Mm-hmm.
for Clip
Mm-hmm.
Studio. So I watched a lot of his tutorials and how to do stuff on there, and it got to me where I was confident enough to do a whole chapter on there now.
Yeah.
Cons, the only con I can really think of is back up your work.
Oh,
Make sure when
yeah.
you save it, don't save it as the page that you just worked on.
Oh.
Because that did happen in the process of the last chapter, and I had to redo a whole page. After
Oh.
all the layers and layers, I had to backtrack and do a page completely over because it was gone.
Oh
Once it's
man.
gone, it's gone. So, back up your work, make a copy.
Yeah.
I still need to get a hard drive, an external hard drive.
Oh yeah.
Because yeah, if your work is all on the computer, if something happened to that computer, it's gone, man. It's never
Yeah.
to return.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest con to it. But all in all, it's digital is the way to go to me.
Yeah.
I don't hardly ever draw on paper anymore. I will every now and again. I do all my drafts on paper. I draw all my pages in a sketchbook
Okay.
before I draw it on the computer just because it's like a roadmap
Mm-hmm.
to where I want the story to go and what I want the scenes to look like. So I just follow the little roadmap. I can actually show.
Yeah.
I got the sketchbook right here. So I don't know if they can see that good, but
Yeah.
that's kind of how my page looked before I put it on the computer,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of just redraw that in the panels on there.
Okay.
So yeah, digital is great.
Yeah. I would definitely keep that stuff in mind because I don't know if you've heard me talk about before. Both of my daughters love drawing. They're into art and
Oh,
things of
that's
that
awesome.
nature. And cause even when given your background as far as like you were drawing very young, they
Hmm.
were doing the same because they're 12, they're twins, so they're currently 12.
Hmm.
But I definitely remember them drawing stuff many years back,
Hmm.
because they constantly be sketching out stuff and be like, hey, and come in and show me and
Hmm.
and things like that. So cause I had what was it last sometime last year I had went and got them like some sketchbooks. It was a certain type of mechanical pencil that somebody had recommended because there was another artist I was following back last year, and I had reached out to her. I was like, hey, I got my daughters. They're into art. Do you have any suggestions or whatever? And she had, messaged me back a list as far as like, okay, hey, like this type of sketchbook with this type of paper and pencils and stuff like that. And I ended up, going out and get it, and they were head over heels,
Oh wow, that's awesome.
excited and stuff. So, but that's definitely something like you said, like with the digital side of things. Which, speaking of which, what kind of software or device do you use to do the actual drawings?
So I do everything on Clip Studio Paint.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great software for creating comics. It's more tailored to like creating manga,
Mm.
but and it's a great program, and it's only the starter pack is only $50.
Oh.
And that's
Nice.
what I use still now.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
man, it's wonderful, man. Like it mimics a pencil, like it
Mm-hmm.
feels so natural. And I use a Wacom tablet to
Mm.
draw on it. My wife, she bought me the program too for Christmas, and she gave me let me use her Wacom tablet. And once I got the Clip Studio program and start practicing on it, it's very natural.
Yeah.
Once you practice with it a bit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it mimics a pencil. It'll mimic a G pen. And on a professional level, like the guys at Saturday AM, that's what they use
Okay.
to draw their comics. And a lot of other artists too, like Sweat and Soap Creator uses Clip Studio.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's what the pros use, and it's very inexpensive and not that hard to use, especially if you're familiar with like Illustrator or Photoshop
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and stuff. It's not too bad to use. So yeah, I would definitely recommend that 100 times.
Okay.
Like it's a great program.
Okay. Okay. See, like I said, I'm taking notes for myself. You know, it's like like the people to know that this is more just than just an interview for y'all. This is also, hey, Robert's taking notes too. uh, okay, awesome. Okay, cause back when I was in college, one of my roommates, Cliff, he was also an artist, and so that was kind of I think that might have been like one of like my first real experiences getting a chance to see some of these processes and stuff because before having a roommate that I was living with, it was
Hmm.
just okay, I don't know how this stuff works or what the process is, but just kind of even just over the couple of years that we lived together, seeing like his uh transformation of his art and his sketches and stuff because he would have certain characters that he would ever so often redraw again, and they kind of like put them side by side like, oh, okay, this is what they looked like 5 years ago, 3 years ago,
Hmm.
today, and so on and so forth. uh which I guess with because I'm also kind of curious, I guess, kind of going back a little bit with the sketch or with the look of your characters now, and I guess we'll primarily say your two main characters, Space Crush and Nico. Uh, how close, or I guess like how much have their designs changed? Over the course of you kind of doing the early stages of planning versus okay when chapter one came out, this is what they look like now. Did they change very much, or kind of
Hmm.
how was that?
Micho looks like if you see a picture that I drew of him
Mm-hmm.
10 years ago, he looks almost the same, but he's definitely been redesigned
Mm-hmm.
quite a bit. I remember the first big changes I made of him was when I showed him to my wife and I was really seriously about to start drawing the comic and I was working on the promo art and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first redesigns I did because my wife was like, he need an edge up because I just had the hair just like kind of like that. And my wife's like, you need to get him an edge up. So you like go show this to people. It's like the
Yeah.
art looked great, but he need an edge up. And that was one of the first big ones I noticed. And I was like, I really like when I started back drawing that time, I really like getting praised by my wife, but that was the first big critique she
Yeah.
made. And I was like, you know what, she right, she right.
Oh, that's a really good one. That is a really good one.
So yeah, he got an edge up now. I keep it crisp. I put a little bit more details in his dreadlocks. Like at first it was just like just one solid like just hair piece and you saw the
Oh
lock.
yeah.
But then I started doing the individual
Mm-hmm.
tied back behind them.
Mm-hmm.
And clothing has changed. I kind of want to change clothing because sometimes I'd be like, board drawing the same clothing. So like you'll
Yeah.
notice in chapter 2 to chapter 3, they got on different clothes, and I
Yeah.
upgraded the clothes a little bit. So clothing is changed.
Hmm.
Nico still did not exist in
Yeah.
the early renditions of the show. I had another supporting character
Hmm.
that I had in mind, and like I said, I kind of got influenced by my wife with her, and
Hmm.
she came in once I started seriously like coming up with designs.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
she looks pretty much the same, but like I've tried to get more detail with her hair. Like I really like I'm very big on accentuating black features in my characters, so you
Yeah.
know that they are characters of color. So I like giving her like a rounded nose and
Hmm.
have like the lips and beautiful curly hair
Yeah.
because like my dream is that black people can easily cosplay these characters
Yeah.
in this story. Like that's kind of one of my goals and kind of like a dream is like if people gonna cosplay them, it'll be very easy for people of color to cosplay them.
Hmm.
So like I want to
Hmm.
accentuate those features and also just so kids can look at them and see them.
Yeah.
um and kids of color can say, hey, I just remember seeing Dragon Ball Z characters and want my hair to look like that, but it'll never look like that. I wanted my
Yeah.
hair to be like Gohan's, but it's never gonna look like that. So I want people to see black hair as cool and be able to like, oh, I can make my hair look like Micho's. I could
Yeah.
get twisted in and have the dreadlocks tied back.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a dream with that. But I'm kind of getting off subject.
No, no, you cool. You fine. You fine, man.
Eraser was drawn as a villain, like
Hmm.
as a minor character,
Hmm.
way back when I first drew Space Crush. His design has kind of changed, and even throughout the chapters, he's changed a bit too. Because I kind of wanted to clean up his style a little bit, and I kind of did then progress with that.
Yeah.
With the characters, I actually plan to like redesign chapter 1 and chapter 2 eventually, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
take my time with it. But I'm gonna eventually redo those two chapters
Hmm.
digitally just to upgrade the quality. But
Yeah.
if you read any manga artists through, you see that they style changes a little bit
Yeah.
throughout a series, like Akira or just about anybody. They style
Hmm.
changes, so I'm not too worried about that. But because you always just trying to get better and
Oh
draw
yeah.
better with each chapter, so it's gonna always change a little bit
Yeah.
throughout. But those the main ones I know
Yeah.
that have changed a lot over time that I've shown.
Yeah.
Everybody else is kind of like new, kind of a new idea.
Yeah. So, out of curiosity, and you can decline to be like, hey, I ain't gonna say nothing, or I'll wait and see. The character that that you kind of originally had the idea for, like being like a support character that ended up kind of getting swapped out. Once you met your wife and Nico came into the picture, do you still have potential plans for that character? Like, what, maybe I can repurpose this character somewhere else down the line, or is that character kind of like, for now they're just completely just erased, gone?
That's definitely always a possibility. I don't have any plans right now, but
Yeah.
while I'm making this, I always like, especially when I need some inspiration, like I always go back to those old drawings and see who I can flesh out or redesign to get ideas from. So that's always a possibility.
Yeah.
That I'll do that. I don't think anybody I've drawn is ever completely dead. I feel like
Yeah.
in some way, long as I'm drawing, I'm gonna bring somebody back because I feel like I had,
Yeah.
even with my stuff from high school, I feel like I had some good ideas
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
for some stuff. So I always look back on those old inspirations and see if I can revamp
Yeah.
those old ideas I had. So
Okay.
yeah, definitely, yeah, you could possibly see them again.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, couple more things I want to ask you that's specific to Space Crush, and then I want to briefly talk about some other stuff before I got to let you go.
Mhm.
Uh, as far as like looking ahead with Space Crush, Uh, and once again, you know, obviously don't tell me like no specifics, whatever, because spoilers. But do you kind of have certain either moments or certain characters where you're like, man, I cannot wait until, you know, chapter 7 or whatever to get to this point, or okay, I cannot wait till I get to this potential story beat type of thing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nico's background. I'm excited for people to learn more about her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for I'm excited for the Insect King and some more of that mystery to come out and people to learn more. I'm trying really hard to pace it all out
Yeah.
and make sure I'm not giving away too much
Yeah. Yeah.
um, stuff too early. But yeah, like I'm really excited to reveal a lot of stuff in the future. Like
Yeah.
I'm really excited about this chapter I'm working on, just the ending
Yeah.
that I have planned for it and the stuff I'm gonna introduce at the end of this one. And I'm also excited about the preceding chapter, chapter 5. Like I'm really
Mm,
excited of what I'm gonna show and what's gonna be set up for that chapter.
yeah. Nice, nice. You know, as somebody that you know has been following along, like I said, at least like I said, with the journey since chapter 1 came out, I am definitely excited to see what you have cooking up. You know, if if you ever need to have a character off in the background, you know, that's this, you know, that they're flying by a window and he's podcasting. Hey, you can use my, I volunteer my
Hey,
likeness.
hey man, hey, I'll take that. I got a couple people that said that to me, and I love doing stuff like that.
Yeah,
So don't be surprised if you're reading the chapter and you like, hey, you
that'd be
sound
dope.
kind of similar. You sound like somebody I know. So definitely don't be surprised because I love doing stuff like that, and you just gave me permission. So
Oh yeah, oh yeah, for sure, for sure. So with you know chapter 4 and stuff, because I even saw a few hours ago, but before we came on to do this, that you had posted, you know, like some sketches and stuff that you kind of been doing lately. Uh, do you have like a rough idea of like when you think that chapter might be out, or are you just kind of like not gonna put no specific, you know, like okay, I'm gonna have it out by this date, just like hey, when it's ready type of approach.
yeah, I definitely try to keep the it's ready
Mm-hmm.
type of approach, just so I don't I definitely don't like announcing a deadline that I can't meet, and then it
Yeah,
kind of put pressure on myself. And working a full time job and doing this and stuff, I just know stuff is gonna come up.
yeah,
But I am shooting for the summer. I
yeah,
can't promise that 100%.
yeah,
But I'm working to be able to put something out this summer.
yeah.
Um, and since you asked that, I was gonna go ahead and say that the plan is to release chapter 4 and also release a one shot story that
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on called My Extra Dimensional Side Hustle. I
Mm,
talked about it a little bit on Keeping It Geekly too.
yeah.
So my plan is to release these chapters and also do like these little one shots.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully this summer I can release chapter 4 and my one shot, my extra dimensional side hustle this summer, which you can expect.
Okay, nice. I love that name. I love that name. Is that one shot is going to be tied with Space Crush, or is it kind of like its own separate thing, or is it just hey, find out when you read it?
um, it's kind of its own separate thing, and it's gonna be kind of uh a solo story, but it's gonna just a little bit background of the idea of it is gonna be about a guy who has a side job as a extra dimensional taxi cab driver.
Mm,
Um, I'm hoping to do like a 10 page like more comedic sci-fi
mm-hmm.
one shot of that. Will it be tied to Space Crush? I don't know. It could. It could not be.
Yeah.
It could have some loose ties to it. We never know.
Yeah. Okay. So, but before I let you go, I got, I definitely got to touch on some other stuff. So, and of course, and I'll go through this again once I get to the actual intro, but, I will, of course, have links to where you can read, where people watching and listening can read Space Crush. I'll make sure to have all that stuff as well as Silent Peace socials all down in the bio below and in the description of the podcast. But what has been some stuff that you've been reading or watching lately?
Oh man. I've been reading a lot. Um, I've read volume 5 of Sweat and Soap
Mm.
recently. Um,
I,
I
I
read.
actually I actually just found that volume because sorry to cut you off, but I was just gonna say
Oh
just
no,
real
you fine.
quick because last month I had went out. Okay, yeah. We're still in February or in March as of today. In February, I had went out and bought all of the series just so when I have once I finish up with what I'm doing with 20th Century Boys, I plan on hopefully trying to read that next. But
Hmm.
I have found all of the volumes across a few different stores, except for Volume 5 was sold out
Mm,
everywhere, even online in most places. Like I'm like, what is going on? But I luckily just found it earlier this week, so it's funny
yeah,
that's the one that you just read.
yeah.
So, but okay, but good to hear that uh, you're enjoying that series. I think I'm still what am I on? I'm still pretty. I think I'm still like on volume 2 because I had started it and
Hmm.
then got distracted by a million things, and I'm like, okay, I need to
Oh yeah,
try to focus down on less series. So,
yeah.
but my bad.
Oh, you
Continue.
fine, man. Yeah. That manga short is be a pain, man.
Yeah.
I had that. Like, I got all of Dragon Ball except one volume of their like three in
Mm.
one collection, and it's nowhere. You can't find it anywhere online or anything.
Which volume are you trying to find?
It's 13 of the 3-in-1, the red books.
Okay, so volume 13 is the
Um,
one you're trying to find.
uh-huh.
I'm
And
I'm just making a note in case I
oh
see it out
man,
there. I'll let you know.
thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I've looked everywhere for that, and every store I can think of, every website, and it's just out of print
Yeah.
right now. So I feel you on that. Um, but yeah, I read Volume 5, Sweat and Soap, Mal series by
Oh yeah.
Ramiko 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
That I really like that. I just finished Volume 5 of Battle Angel Alita.
Nice.
Um, let's see. I got to look on my shelf over here.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, how can I not mention Radiant? I finished Volume 8.
Yes.
Um, and my wife for Christmas, I had volumes 1 through 4, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife bought me all the way up to volume 14. So I'm just letting that be a slow burn. I'm just reading that every now and again. I just like I got it in the chamber right there,
Yes.
all the way
So
up to 14.
so I of course got to talk about this right now because I was planning on bringing a Radiant at some point, but that is also one of the things that we have bonded over because once we kind of met and started talking and stuff, and then I'm trying to remember. I think it might have been. I think more than like I think you might have posted a picture or something that you or made some type of mention that you had read volume 1 or something a while back, and I was like, oh, somebody
Yeah.
else, that is into that series because it definitely doesn't get as much love as it
Hmm.
should.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
great.
yeah, that is definitely a series for anybody watching and listening. Go check out Radiant. It is super awesome, super dope. I've seen both seasons of the anime, and I've
Uh-huh.
read a little bit past where that season stopped, but I can't remember what volume the anime stopped at. I had it in
Hmm.
mind a while back, but I can't remember what volume it was. but it's definitely one that I enjoy. And every now and then when I'm at the store, I will kind of like take a peek at
Uh-huh.
some of the later volumes and stuff, and I'm like, ooh, who is especially when I saw the the character that's on volume 14, because a black dude on with
Oh yeah.
dreads on the cover. I'm like,
Hmm.
who are you? I need to know what is going on. I'm gonna take a little peek and stuff. And I
Uh-huh.
was I was like, okay, all right, I'm keeping that in mind for once I kind of get through some of this other stuff, I need to get back
Hmm.
to reading that. So, but yeah,
Yeah, his characters, the color on there are really dope.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and the world building on there is amazing. That's probably my favorite part about that series is
yeah,
the world building. Like it's so great. Like and he kind of inspires me on the world building part of just like
hmm,
making you feel like it make you feel like this place really exists. The
yeah,
detail he explains everything on
hmm,
there in the story. I just love that. And then it's like got that classic shonen vibe too,
yeah,
but it's its own. You know what I mean?
yep,
It doesn't really seem like nothing else quite that you've read, but it's got that vibe there though.
hmm,
You know
hmm,
that I really like too.
yep,
But yeah, his art style is amazing. Like his books are so beautiful. Like I think that's what made me pick it up. I was just in Second and Charles and I saw a cover
yep,
and I looked at the back and I was like, man, I'm just gonna go out on a limb and just buy this because it's just such a beautiful cover, but it's a great
yep,
story too.
yep. Yeah, yeah. A series that has for me, I feel like either if you have like a really something very beautiful or interesting looking on the cover, potentially the name or the synopsis that's on the back of the book. Like if you can hit one or a couple of those, then you'll kind of get me to do a blind purchase where I'm like, I don't know what this is, but
Yeah.
this looks
Hmm.
dope, or the name sounds cool, or the description and
Uh-huh.
stuff. Yeah, definitely. I'm in agreement with you on that.
Yeah. That's the fun part about going book shopping in person. I don't like ordering online. I do when it's necessary.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? But I love going in a bookstore and picking up manga,
yeah,
and I love discovering series. That's my favorite place to discover something is in the bookstore.
yeah,
Um, getting attracted by the cover, reading the
yeah,
back, and just taking a chance on it turning out to be really good. Like it's my favorite way to find new manga.
yeah, for sure. And one I want to ask you about real quick because I was intending on asking earlier, but it almost slipped my mind. Have you and forgive me if we've talked about this before, but I don't think we have. But have you read or watched Blue Period?
Blue period.
Yeah,
Uh.
that is one that I would say check out.
Okay.
I honestly I would even suggest watching because I checked out the anime first.
Uh huh.
It's on Netflix. It's available in both dub and sub.
Hmm.
But I think 12 episodes. But that's definitely one that I think that you would enjoy.
Okay.
Just because of the connection of you being a artist. That's a
Hmm.
series that follows a character that's kind of like he discovered his love and interest for art and kind of his journey through you know improving himself on his art and then trying to
Hmm.
make his way into a art college. And so even for me, even though I'm not a person that does art in that way,
Hmm.
it really spoke to me because it really touches on stuff that I think that anybody that is a creative period can
Hmm.
relate to, whether you're an
Okay.
artist, podcaster, YouTuber, whatever. So that's definitely one that I would that I feel like honestly, but both the you and Miss Cat would probably uh enjoy. So
Okay. Man, I'm gonna definitely check that out. We might pick that up this weekend or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, for sure. So, any other things, or stuff that you've watched that you want to give a shout out before we wrap things up?
Let's see. Let me look back at my shelf over here. Oh yeah, I just read Hunter x Hunter,
Oh, nice.
volumes 33 through 36, like the stuff that's not animated
Okay.
from the anime series. And man, I'm praying for Tagashi every day that
Yeah,
he's able to get well and pick that pen back up because this man,
yeah,
I really would like to see where he's going with this current arc. And
yeah,
you can never guess with his stuff.
yeah,
So yeah, shout out to Tagashi, shout out to his wife, creator Sailor Moon.
yeah.
Let's see, what else? I recently read Amazing Ikoku. Um,
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I just recently read that. I read volume one of Fire Force. Since I got the spoiler on the ending, I was watching the anime, but since I got the
Mm,
spoiler on the ending, I was like, I got to figure out how
yeah,
that spoiler happened. So I decided I'm gonna collect the manga and read the manga.
yeah,
I'm gonna still watch the anime, but I'm gonna commit to reading the manga now because I want to read it all the way through.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was a awesome ride.
Yeah, man, I can't
Yeah,
wait.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So, all right. I guess we'll kind of get ready to wrap things up here. Because
Okay.
don't want to hold you too long. But I definitely we're definitely gonna have to do this again in
Oh
the
yeah, man, for
future
sure, man.
and stuff, man. Because more than likely we probably could keep going for another
Yeah,
hour plus. But but uh I guess let the people know where they can find you, your online handles, all that jazz.
yeah. You can find me on Twitter. Wait, let me pull up. Let me just make sure I'm giving the right names.
Oh yeah.
Any news links to where you can read Space Crush, you can find it on my Twitter at comic book underscore P. Um, you can read Space Crush if you're not a social media person, you can read Space Crush at spacecrushcomic.ghost.io.
Hmm.
You can also find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is silent p underscore comics. So you can find me on there. I post artwork. You can also find the link to the website on there, and I post sneak peeks on reels and on stories as well.
Hmm.
um and you can also, if you want to support or donate, all the money, it just goes towards stuff for the comic, like paying for the website, paying for art supplies, or anything like that. You can donate on coffee, and that's also included on my Twitter profile as well. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's where you can check me out.
Awesome. So yeah, y'all go out there. Y'all make sure y'all go check out my boy Silent P. Go check out Space Crush. And like I said, I have enjoyed being able to be a observer of your journey over these months, and hopefully a long time to come, man. I definitely, we talk all the time, but
Yeah.
definitely want to say here, you know, I love what you do, man, and
Thank you. Same, man. Same to you.
thank you. And I definitely am looking forward to these next couple chapters coming, and even the one shot that you mentioned, and yeah, just seeing what adventure and ride. You gonna take
Yeah.
us as readers on as we go throughout this. But like I said earlier, we will definitely do this again. Do some it might be a reoccurring thing where we kind of do some check-ins and stuff because like I said it's always fun to kind of follow up with somebody or a project or
Hmm.
whatever after X amount of time and kind of like look back like okay hey here's what's been happening since the
Hmm.
last time we talked and stuff so but yeah and so as for myself y'all already know y'all can find me everywhere at Dad Needs to Talk. That's on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, even though I barely use it. And, the Patreon page too, and dadneedstotalk.com, which is the central hub for all the stuff I do, and the YouTube channel to check out the video of all of the content and stuff I do. So, yeah, as always, make sure, as I say, make sure to treat yourself to something nice, read some manga, watch some
Yeah.
anime, play some video games, and live your best life. And with that,
Yeah.
we are out, and we'll catch y'all on the next one. Y'all be easy.
All right.
Peace.